America, y'all. Oh man,
Kind of feels like a Marvin Gaye kind of thing going on.
no
right
doubt,
now, right?
absolutely, 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 absolutely.
Like how is it playing out right now?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Yo, E, man. Listen, brother, it is hot outside.
Brother, that's an understatement, man.
No doubt.
Brother, I'm hot everywhere, man. I mean, you get out of the car, the heat is booming.
Right.
It's just incredible, man. But listen, y'all, we want to welcome y'all to All Politics are Local.
No doubt,
America's
absolutely.
Number one political hip hop radio talk show.
No doubt.
As Bashir just said, it's hot in the city. Of course, it is Friday, and it is July 19th. And man, it is, Stevie Wonder had an album called Hotter Than July. And it is hot for real. So listen, y'all, of course, y'all know if it's the third Friday, y'all know it is the Mayor's Forum. And of course, it is that time for us to get into everything going on. But before we get started, of course, what we want to do is we want to let's just read the disclaimer. Right.
Yes, we always have to read the disclaimer, my brother.
Yeah.
All right.
You know what we said last week?
What's that?
Whenever black folk get ready to get on the radio, we need a disclaimer for real.
Absolutely. All right, here we go, y'all. The A.P.A.L. is purely a community radio production, and the ideas and programming does not in any manner reflect the views or positions of Rutgers University, Newark. All right, so we got that out the way. All right.
So that's
Let me cut these headphones up a little bit, man.
Yeah.
Yo, I know it's hot outside. All right, there's a lot of things we got to talk about. Of course, we're going to kick it off with the Mayor's Forum. All right. The mayor will be here momentarily. All right. That's Newark, New Jersey's Mayor, Raz J. Baraka. He moderates his own show, his own segment of the show called the Mayor's Forum. All right. You can catch that every third Friday, y'all, from 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, y'all. All right? I'm going to say that one more time. You can catch the Mayor's Forum every third Friday from 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right? And, I always like to start off with something strong. Of course, I always got to shout out my Muslim brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. That simply means may God's peace and blessings and mercy be upon you. But also, I like to come with some Afrocentric, strong greetings like Hotep.
Uh-oh.
All right?
Uh-oh.
Hotep.
Uh-oh.
All right? Stop the violence.
You're one of them Hotepers.
I'm an angry Hotepper.
Yeah.
But you know what, though? All jokes aside, though, E,
yeah.
we're gonna get into that. That's messed up. I still have a big problem with folks trying to equate some negativity, some misogynism, some sexism, homophobia with Hotep or with somebody that's black and conscious, somebody that's black and African centric, all right? Somebody that's black and a black nationalist, somebody that's black and a Pan-Africanist, somebody that's black and a black revolutionary.
You're killing me with the black, B.
Brother, listen, there is a war. Like the
remember,
soldiers used to say back in the day. It's still true to this day. There is a war going on. A war on black people, on black consciousness, on black ideas, on black philosophy, on black people. All right. So, we say Hotep, all right, that's actually a greeting. All right. It's a greeting. It means peace. Many of our scholars and historians have told us, have argued with us, all right, that Hotep is it means peace. It's one of the oldest words for peace in human history. All right. So, Hotep, brothers and sisters. Hotep, 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 Hotep. All right. I'm going to say that one more time to y'all. Hotep, Hotep, Hotep. All right. Hotep, Hotep, Hotep.
Yeah.
All right, we got it like that, baby.
They're going to kick us out of the building with that Hotep.
That's all right.
But listen, y'all, let me give you the rundown. Of course, from 6 to 7, we have the Mayor's Forum. And then, of course, at 7:05, 7:25, we're going to have one of our other co-hosts is going to be in the building. In fact, she's already in the building, Asia Norton.
No doubt. Board education member of Newark, New Jersey.
Yeah.
Big shout out to Sister Asia Norton.
All right.
All right, no doubt.
Of course, she got a couple of guests that are going to be coming in the building. The retired Lieutenant Levy A. Holmes II. And then, of course, she got the sister from the Imagines organization and Jalen Matthews.
Dope.
So she's going to be getting that in. And then, of course, Bashir is going to be doing something a little later from his bag on the hip hop side. You know, he got a whole bag of CDs.
Oh wow, I'm bringing it back.
90s.
I'm bringing it back. Classic,
You know what I mean?
classic. We going all classic this Friday, y'all. All right.
Yeah.
And what you hear in the background, or what you call it, the bedding.
Yeah.
The what's the technical term for it?
Well, that's it. It's bedding.
Right.
You got it in the bed.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
the background music that you hear, right, that's classic Tupac right there, all right? Classic Tupac, So Many Tears, all right? That's classic Tupac right there. But I want to get back to Hotel. Because, you know, you and I had a conversation this week, brother, and I was very upset, still angry, outraged over the fact that folks are trying to write us out of history,
Right.
trying to change the narrative of black people's history here in America and around the world, all right? They try to always equate something negative to black culture, to black people, to black women, to black men, to black youth, to black children, all right? And so, you know, one of the things that they attack is culture, all right? Language, culture. Now, if you don't know this, y'all, all right? If you don't know this, and I went to Seton Hall and Columbia University, got a degree in this stuff called history, right? Black people were captured, right? Black people in America were captured out of Africa, stolen from their villages, from their towns, from their cities, all right? And they were placed in the halls of slave ships across the Atlantic Ocean, right? Where millions upon millions of black people lost their lives, and only the strong ones survived the Middle Passage, what we call the Middle Passage, right? And once they, I guess, survived the horrors of the Middle Passage, they were sold off in auction blocks. Once they arrived in the United States, what we now call the United States of America, right?
Go ahead and get that history.
Let me cut this music down, because we're gonna get deep. When they brought us here, right, to this place called the United States of America, and then they sold us on auction blocks like cattle, like animals, y'all, like pigs, like goats. This is what they did to us, family. All right, this is what they did to us. And you know, brothers and sisters, in the way to, you know, to make us a slave is that, what did they do? They took our culture. All right, they took our language. They made it illegal. All right, illegal. I wish you guys, right, out there, social media land, all right, and on the radio, please, if you get a chance, Google my patch.com commentary about the legality of racism. It's serious. This is what happened. All this stuff, racism was backed up by laws, right? And you know, racist white people in power in America made it illegal for black people to speak African languages. All right, right? They made it illegal for us to speak Arabic. All right, because you know, many of our people that were brought here from Africa, from West Africa, were Muslims. All right, and they were taken from Islamic empires in Africa, in West Africa. All right, places like Timbuktu. All right, you need to go research this stuff. All right, you need to research this information. They took us from places like Timbuktu, right? Places like we now call Ghana, places that we now call Nigeria, right? Places that we now call Senegal. We call the Ivory Coast. We call Liberia, right? They took us from these places, but these places were Islamic empires as well. And so many of our people were scholars, Islamic scholars or Muslim scholars, imams, sheikhs, all right, who spoke fluent Arabic, all right? And so to disconnect us in America from our culture, the first thing the racist white man did is take our language and made it illegal. So a lot of people don't want to know. They don't want to know this history either.
Right.
And including many of our immigrant brothers and sisters don't want. They've been miseducated as well. You know, even though many of them experienced colonialism in their motherlands, right, in Latin America, in places in Asia, right, in the Middle East, right, in Africa, right. But many of us forget that when we come to the United States of America. We forget all of that, all right? We forget all of that, all right? And so we look like, wow. I mean, some of our immigrant brothers is like, wow, that really happened? Yes. You go pick up a brother named Zaid Ibn Omar's book. He wrote his entire memoir. He was a slave. He was a black man captured.
Right.
He was a black man captured, right? In West Africa, right, and then taken, placed on the hulls of slave ships, auctioned off from the auction blocks once he got to America, right? He served, I mean, and guess where he ended up? Charlottesville, Virginia.
What?
Yes. Charlottetown, Virginia, I'm sorry. And in old age, right, he wrote his memoir entirely in Arabic, brothers and sisters.
Why don't you tell the man what you're talking about?
We're talking about, folks are trying, it's good to see you, Mr. Mayor. How you doing, big brother?
Brother, how you
First,
doing?
let me formally greet the mayor. Y'all, yes, the
and
mayor's
welcome
in
to
the
the mayor's
building.
forum.
No doubt, no doubt. We cut the music all the way down because we were getting serious, Mr. Mayor. All right. What's going on is that folks, among other things, black people are attacked on so many levels. But one of the things that is still continuing, unfortunately, is attack on black culture. All right, and folks are equating anytime. Let me put it this way: when you step up, when you're black and conscious, when you're black and African centric, when you're black and revolutionary, when you're black nationalist, right? You're black and proud, right? They equate. Now folks are equating that with trying to say that you're sexist, you're homophobe, you're an angry hotepper. In fact, they're using code. They're using hotep as a code, all right, to talk about to equate sexism and homophobia with your black consciousness. So and now we've been talking about this all week, man. And I just I'm really angry, over that, man, because
what does one have to do with the other, though? What
absolutely.
Does black consciousness have to do with homophobia?
Right, absolutely.
Right.
But they're right. But folks are writing commentaries on social media.
Oh, that's what it is.
Social media and digital media. There's a show on Netflix called Dear White People. All right, and there's an episode when there's a brother who's conscious. He's a black man. He's conscious, and people around him say, "Oh, he's one of those angry hoteppers." See, those are the I'm telling you, every time there's
Hotep wasn't angry though.
no doubt, absolutely.
He was brilliant, but he wasn't angry.
Absolutely.
Right.
So, right, so what they try. So this is what they're doing.
You don't know who Hotep is.
Right.
They don't know.
Absolutely. Right.
But that's the thing Bob was saying. He was on the show last week, and so Bob said when he was here,
Bob who?
Bob Law.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yes.
So Bob was
Yes,
on
sir.
last week, and it was a hell of a show. I mean, Bob, Conrad, Tamika Mallory,
Right. Dr.
Avis
was on. Right.
The Weaver, she was
Right.
on. And so Bob was saying that you can't even say the word black now, right?
Right.
Like if you go into a meeting and you say, "Oh, what we want to do is have a black conversation," they're like, "Oh no, we can't have that. We can have a conversation."
Been in them spaces.
We can't. In some spaces, we can't raise the black liberation flag. Now, and what Bob and Conrad
we raised it in Newark.
Oh, absolutely, no
Right.
doubt, Mr. Mayor.
But that's what we said about
Right.
you. Wasn't,
Right.
But that's what we said. You wasn't here. But
Right.
that's why we said we thank God for you. But we always say, what happens when the Barakas is no longer in there? What happens then?
Right. And
What happens to that consciousness? Right.
Right. But let's back up. I said we're blessed in Newark, New Jersey, to have a mayor who is black and conscious. Young folks say stay woke. They talk about the wokeness.
Well, we had that conversation.
Right.
There.
No doubt. But for us elders now, all right, because I'm reaching my elderhood.
No, you're not
now.
reaching it, but
I'm there, right?
Yes, sir. Yes,
I'm
sir.
there. I'm in my 50s now.
Yes, sir.
I have an oldest one. My oldest one is going off to college
Yes,
now.
sir.
But we're blessed to have a mayor in the city of Newark who's black, who is conscious, all right, who's balanced with it, all right, respects all people, all right, respects white people, respects Latino people, respects our gay and lesbian brothers and sisters, right? He respects all people, but he's also black and proud. You know,
Yes, sir.
and
Right.
and
Black
so
is back, all in. We gonna win.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
no
here we
doubt.
go again.
Yeah.
Turn it up.
Woo,
Yeah.
classic right there, classic, no doubt. What you know
P.E.
about that, Mr. Mayor?
That's P.E.
But no doubt. But you know, but Brother Bob was like, yeah, you blessed in Newark, but unfortunately in other cities aren't blessed like you, brother.
Yes,
like our city. I'm
yeah,
just
you know,
saying.
the social media stuff. You know, and you know, a lot of I said that before, man. A lot of these guys, folks, are just not reading, man.
Right.
You know, social media is to me a sign, a one-way sign, a pointing sign. It tells you where to go, but it's not the destination. The problem is people go there and stop there. Right. That's their destination. So
Wait.
all the information that they get, all of the stuff that they have, come from social media.
Right.
That's the beginning point. Social media should inform you, give you a place to go, and then you go get the book.
Right.
Right. As a matter of fact, we in the technology now, you don't even have to read the book. You can get you some headphones
Go ahead.
and listen to the book.
Absolutely.
Right.
You can actually, brother, Mr. Mayor, you can actually watch the entire Eyes on the Prize series. All right.
Yeah.
Which documents
Yeah.
the civil rights
that
of
will
black.
help you. Big
Absolutely.
time. Yeah.
Big time. I mean,
Big time.
documented from
Sure.
1950s
Sure.
to the early 1960s,
Sure.
the civil rights and the Black liberation movement, Black Power movement, right?
And
It's
people
all
need to go
embedded.
beyond that stuff, man.
Right.
They just refused. People refuse to read, man. They refuse to research
Go ahead. That's
and get
right.
real information. They just refuse to do it, man.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely.
we were forced to read, man. You be in conversations with people,
Yeah.
and they start throwing stuff at you. You say, I better go home and read that. You know what I'm saying? I got to figure out what he talking about because I don't know what he talking about.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and people don't. We just it's not there anymore. You know, we don't have those kind of conferences where we go to and all that stuff going on. You know, I must have went to 3 or 4 conferences a year, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
You know, and I'm
back in the day.
and
And
I'm
remember, we used to have, what was that thing we had in New York back in the day? When was what was that? Black Expo?
Black
Remember the Black
Expo?
Expo?
Black
Right.
Expo was there.
But
Yeah.
Yeah.
the conference that one of the biggest conference that I remember in the early 1990s was the Malcolm X
Yeah,
conference.
Malcolm X. That's right.
Yes,
That's
sir.
right. Mega Evans.
I saw you.
Mega
We didn't know each other then,
Yes,
brother,
sir.
but you were there with Sister Soldier, man. I was like,
Mega
woo.
Evans. Yeah.
Y'all spoke strong, man. I was
Yeah.
like, yo, you remember that? You remember that? Because we went on. We organized students on buses
I
to
think
go
you
there.
and John and y'all went.
Yes, Tari was there. Tari was. That's what Tari
Yeah.
met. Darupa was from Darupa.
That's right.
But just came home. But I'm glad you mentioned conference because last Friday, Brother Conrad, when he was making his closing remarks, he said,
Yeah.
we have to organize. He said, we are the elders now. All right.
That's true.
He said, we are the elders now.
It's very true.
And he said, we have to organize. We have to organize conferences. In fact, he mentioned that maybe we can organize. He said maybe we can organize a black political conference again in America, starting right there in Newark. Since we have,
Why not?
we have the
Like
most
the
most
National Black
progressive
Political Convention.
Absolutely, he mentioned it. I
That's
mean,
what he said.
Right.
1972.
Right.
Yeah.
And he said to give, to have these conferences to give, to discuss a black agenda, all right, moving forward, all right, particularly with our new millennial generation.
But
we need them to be a part of it, man. We need them to be a part of it. They're creative, imaginative. They're probably the most educated generation that we've had. Since we've been here in terms of numbers.
Absolutely.
Right. In terms of as many of them have had access to education, I should say, more than anybody. So we have to give them something to imagine and create. So right now they go off all this other stuff that they hear around here. We got to focus them, man. It's not focused.
Absolutely.
So let me, and this is a great segue. So here's the conversation we were having, and we Bob carried it on even Saturday morning, and so we were talking about the 2020 election is coming.
Yeah.
And so we see all this nonsense and all this foolishness going on, and the attacking of the sisters and so forth. What we were talking about is where's the black agenda, right? So everybody's running around, and what they're talking about, man, is they're saying, well, let's register everybody to vote. But we're saying, okay, we're with that. But the question is that if we register everybody to vote, and the Democratic Party selects somebody, and we're supposed to go vote for them. But here's the thing, man. What are we going to get for that?
Yeah.
Right? So where's the black agenda? That's what Bob was saying. That's what Conrad was saying, right? And so we're having this conversation, and we're saying, okay, where's the Raz Barakas in the meeting? Where's that at?
Well, nationally, they talking about issues they never talked about before either,
Right.
man. So they talking about reparations. I mean, Buttigieg is probably he started talking about reparations.
I heard that. Yeah.
You know what I mean? People, this
And
has
I
never,
heard
this has never
somebody say he
been
putting forth the black agenda.
this has never been on the national stage for a presidential election to talk about reparations, right? Our job is we have to, kind of put that discussion in its proper context, right? And make sure that it don't turn into anything other than what we think it should be. We need to be, because that comes from us,
Right.
and that just shows the level of influence that we have, and we've always had influence, right?
Right.
The influence that we have on a political scene,
Right.
and the necessity to make sure that African American vote is gotten by specific people in order to take them to a certain level. They need black people's vote, right?
That's right.
And so
That's right.
this whole talk about reparations, the most progressive candidate that they have won't talk reparations, right? So this whole talk about reparations is a ploy even to get us to go in specific directions.
Mm.
So we have to kind of determine what reparations means for us,
Right.
and not allow other people to define reparations and then say we gave you reparations.
Absolutely, and one of the organizations that been that has had boots on the ground, right, is in Cobra, all right,
Right.
which
For a long time.
for a long time, since 1987, I believe, since 1987, 1988, 87, 88, 89, they launched, a movement to bring more awareness, not only just awareness about reparations, but to actually force elected officials to put to put forth some legislation around reparations. They've been doing that for a long time. In fact, what was in June, right? June, when I was in the Bahamas, right? June, they had their conference.
Yeah,
The keynote
that's right.
speaker was the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Mm-hmm.
But in Cobra, Queen Mother Moore, and you're talking about when you mention you have a cell phone, you can look up videos, man. Eyes on the prize.
Yeah.
No shuffling. I still remember that episode. No more shuffling. All
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
That's the episode that really actually shows your father.
Yeah.
Mama, big shout out to
Queen Mother
Mama.
Moore walking around saying, "We need reparations."
There you go.
We need reparations.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
That's right.
But the point I'm bringing, and you understand this, as Mr. Mayor, because you're an activist. All right, you know this already. Folk were on the ground debating, discussing, like you said, which, in terms of the community, which direction we should go. And I think that when Conrad was talking about we need more conferences, I think sometimes, brother, Mr. Mayor, my brother, those discussions, healthy debates,
Right.
are not taking place.
They're not taking place.
Right. I'm talking about in the community. Now I see
Nowhere.
Right.
I mean, they're talking about reparations now, way up there, right?
Mhm.
Because people have raised it.
Mhm.
We fighting about it.
Mhm.
We not debating and
Right,
putting
we
together
fight.
no strategy.
Absolutely.
We on social media trying to out revolutionary each other.
Or what we think is a revolutionary.
Yeah, and debating about
Right.
whether you believe in reparations or not.
Right.
What is reparations? Do you get a check?
Right.
Do you get education? I mean, what is it? What are we satisfied with?
Right.
And what should it look like?
Right. Absolutely.
And distinguishing reparations from equity and equality.
Mm.
Reparations has nothing to do with equity, right? Reparations is payment for our abuse.
Right.
You're repairing something that you broken.
Right.
Just because you repaired it, don't mean that there's equity now, right?
Mm.
So, I mean, all you doing is helping us,
Right.
paying me my back pay,
Mm.
right?
Mm. Oi.
So going forward, I need a raise,
Right.
right? So at the end of the day, equity is so when people start talking about equity, everybody is involved in the equity conversation because the system is inherently unequal,
Right.
and there's inequity in the system that we live in. There are people that are poor and are struggling of all nationalities, all languages, all religions,
Right.
all whatever
Right.
in this country,
Absolutely.
because of the inequity of the system that we're in.
Right.
And because we're in that system, we are part of this inequity, right? So we experience inequity in the system. We experience it disproportionately, but there are some people who look like us who are benefiting from being in the system. So that inequity doesn't apply to them, but reparations does. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Reparations does.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because reparation is a historical thing that has existed then and now. So even when I like when what's my man who wrote the Jesus from Howard wrote the book
Stokely?
No. Modern day Jesus, I think of his name. Ta-Nehisi Coates.
Right.
Was in Congress debating with those crazy people down there who were talking about they weren't alive during slavery.
Right.
But then he pointed out to him in a very methodical historical fashion.
Right.
You alive now,
right?
And you alive during these specific times when the offshoots of slavery created these inequities that we have. So reparations is about repairing something. Don't let people say we're gonna give you reparations and that's it. No, the discussion is about reparations because of our historical pathway in this country. But we still have to do something about the system that we live under.
Absolutely.
That's creating inequity for us in this community.
See, again, we're blessed, real talk, Newark and the Newark area. All right. I would even argue in this country, we're blessed with a brother like you, Mr. Mayor. You understand all that. All right. You really get it. Unfortunately there are people that don't get it, And when Conrad, oh man, he was breaking it down last Friday, brother. He was talking about, the conferences, how important these forums and conference and town hall meetings were, back in the day, that helped us move Black America forward.
And he referred to, what our ancestor Mary Baraka did, and he said that because we, what Bob was laying out was, because we're afraid to say that Black, because we're afraid to move that culture language there. And remember, man, at one point you said yourself, culture is a weapon.
Sure.
Right.
Call Cabral, brother. Culture is a weapon.
Right. And so that's why I'm saying now, and I want your opinion on this. How do we put this together? Because we see everything going on and people trying to scare us now. Oh, y'all got to get registered to vote. Y'all got to get rid of Trump. Yeah, we got to do that. But at the end of the day, the condition that we're in, right?
Sure.
And so we're saying, okay, if we're going to give our vote again to the Democratic Party, because Bob was saying, look, we ought not be put in some sort of box and say, I can depend on those folks. And then because Bob said that some people are saying, the Democrats can't win with just the Black vote. What did Bob say? Bob said you can't win without the Black vote.
Right. And that is a fact.
Right. So you know this, man. You said this on your show. Some time back. You said it was Black women who saved the Democratic Party.
Sure.
In the last election.
They still doing it.
Right. And so the question is how do we now then not get played in the next 14 months?
So we have to come up with an agenda. And the problem is too that everybody is fighting for the minds and the hearts and to organize the masses of our folks, right? So they believe in order to get that, they have to attack the people who have their attention. So we spend a lot of time attacking the Democratic Party. We spend a lot of time attacking other progressives, other leaders, whether they moderate or progressive, but don't have the same line as you. We spend a lot of the time doing that because we think if we attack them, we make people see. We want people to see them for who they are, so they can follow us. But that has proven not to be effective. It is not. It is not effective. It is not. It has never been effective. In fact, it's not effective. The only thing that it has done historically is get people killed. Get people killed, and some even arrested and isolated, and demean the movement. That is the only thing that's done. If you have a history of this of our struggle in this country, none of that stuff has ever worked. The only thing that works is you organizing the people. See, people have to be given hope, right? We think that if we tell people how horrible things are, that's going to organize them. No, the only thing that does is make people angry. It doesn't make, you don't organize people by telling them, oh, the things are going to come to an end. You organize people by making them believe that this is how we avoid the end.
Go ahead. That's right.
Right? You tell them the end is coming, but this is how we get out.
Right. That's right.
Right? Now people want to be a part of that. Don't nobody want to die.
Right.
Who want to be a part of something that's negative and it's about death? Like, oh, this is horrible. This is going to happen. So people get on the mic and they just talk about how terrible things are. He's bad. He's terrible. He's worse.
Right.
This is the system. It's all going to come down on our head. But not at one time do they tell people, this is how we get out.
Right. Right.
People looking for the door. If a house on fire, tell me where the back door is. Don't tell me I'm going to burn up in here. Why should I listen to you?
That's right.
I'm trying to get the hell out of here.
Wait.
Right? Where's the door? And the person that says, the door's over here, guess who they following? The person who know where the door is at.
Absolutely.
And it's not, we have not even simplified it to that level. So we get in the room and we start fighting and going crazy and we all get excited and yell and scream at each other, but don't nobody know where the back door is. So when you have the next rally, there's less people there at the next rally than it was at the first rally because they home saying all they doing is fussing and fighting, but don't nobody know where the door is.
That's right. Go ahead.
Right? And that's really what the problem is. So, I mean, if you go to rallies we have, I was in Italy, right? I saw them rallying about a house that they was closing down.
Go ahead. That's right.
It was closing down a house.
And not a building, but a
It
house.
was 10,000 people out in the street, man. Music, drums, all kinds of. I said these people are either very astute,
Right.
or those folks have organized these folks very, very, very well, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We have rallies in Newark about serious stuff.
Right.
There are 10 people there.
Yeah.
15.
And then
If we get 100 people, we
Right.
having a party.
Absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
know what I'm saying? It was 100 people at our rally. It was a success.
Go ahead, brother.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
And that person that organized those 10 people are considered the leader.
That's right.
Wow.
That's right. And not only are they a leader, they get to go to meetings and say the community thinks.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
The community. You mean the 10 cats you brought to the last meeting? How they get to be the community? Those are 10 people with an opinion. Right? And that's the problem. We don't want to do the organizing. We just want the credit to be an organizer. Because organizing take work. I mean, if you study Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, right? Kwame Ture,
Right.
or Stokely Carmichael then, or
Right.
Roy Ennis from Congress of Racial Equality,
Right.
or all those people then. I mean, he went a little crazy, but back in them times, Floyd McKissick, all those cats in the South, they organized. They was deep organizers, man.
That's right.
They organized the people in the South.
Well, absolutely, and I think this is why Brother Conrad and Tamika was echoing that. Tamika Mallory, big shout out to Tamika Mallory. She did a great job.
Yeah, she's
last
awesome.
Friday.
Awesome person,
Great
man.
job last Friday. She's a part of our new segment we launched called The Vote,
Nice.
which your brother
Nice.
is the moderator of as well.
Good.
Brother Mitty, big shout out to Brother Mitty. Big
Yeah,
shout
shout out to Mitty.
No doubt, big shout out to Brother Mitty. But Tamika,
He gave a lesson. They're now calling here at Rutgers
Right.
one-on-one on voting.
Absolutely,
Yeah, okay.
absolutely.
Yeah, they played it to all of the political science newcomers.
Absolutely.
And they called it.
Like, teaching them how to get the vote out.
Yeah. Mitty laid it out, right?
Yes, sir.
You know how to do it.
And he said,
Yes.
and they called it. What he said? He said the professor said, it's called one-on-one on how to get the vote out
That's
in the
right,
streets.
No doubt. So big shout out to our
big
brother.
shout out to
That's
Chief.
organizing.
Absolutely.
Right.
Well,
And it takes work, man.
Absolutely. And this is why my brother E, man, that's because Mr. Man. That's why my brother E said, man, in our production meeting, he said, man, we got to do a segment, right? We got to do something around the vote. And Ed came and he said, that's it, the vote.
Yeah. People believe that because.
But you said that though, man,
Right.
and you said that when you were saying that, in one of your earlier shows. Remember you said that people don't, all these people running for office, but they don't know how to get the votes out.
They don't know how to do
They
it.
don't know none of that.
Oh, yeah.
They
You
think
know what I
people
mean?
should follow them
That's
because
right.
they're smart.
That's right.
Which by itself is a little nihilistic, right?
Right.
It's arrogance because you believe you got the right answer. You just don't know how to tell nobody it, right?
Right.
And they should follow you simply because it's right.
Right.
But you think it's right.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And when I was a diehard activist, the thing that educated me is the first time I ran for office at 24 years old, right?
Right,
Because
that's right.
prior to that, I was community organizer to the T, right? You know, at some of the stuff I was saying then, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, you think that people believe what you believe, right? And until you knock on their door. Then you realize that you're far away from where people believe. They don't think these things, right? And they might be a little bit more moderate than you are, right? And you have a lot of work to do, because the 20 people you keep talking to every day for 365 days a year do not constitute the community. And you keep saying the vanguard, but you're not leading nobody. A vanguard means you're the front of the line of people who are following you. You can't be a vanguard of nobody that's not following you.
That's right.
You can't be a leader if nobody listens to you or follow you. So it's arrogant to believe that simply because you read 3 books or 4, and some of you are sharp enough, you might have read 5, like that you read these books, that somehow this makes you the leader.
That's right.
Right? And now, because you read these books, people should follow you simply because you read those books. And now you're going back to this community, right? And you're trying to organize these people. Then you get in your head that these people are not following you because they ain't read anything, because they ain't smart, or they're being duped or fooled by your enemies. Not that your technique is bad, or that you're not smart enough to organize these people, and won't even go back and sharpen your game. So you went and you practiced. You played basketball for 15, 16 years in your life in your hood with a few guys, and you was doing them dirty. So now you go to the college, right? And now you're just a regular player like everybody else, right? And you in there, so y'all not winning, so you blaming your teammates, as opposed to saying, maybe I need to go practice.
That's what's up.
Work on my jump shot.
That's right.
Get my pass together.
Never blame the master.
Get that crossover nicer. You know what I'm saying? And learn how to incorporate everybody else into my game.
Right, absolutely.
Right, and that's what we do. So we out here, and we fuss with everybody else who can do that.
Right.
So we mad at the people, because listen, I have to have respect for elected officials. You know why? People voted for them.
Right.
You got to respect them. People vote, even ones I disagree with.
Right.
Somebody voted for these people, right? So they got the ability to organize people. They've organized them to get to the polls, and some of them organized them over and over and over again. Right, so they have an apparatus that they put together. Now you do it.
Right.
You do it.
Absolutely.
Right.
What's stopping you from doing it?
Right.
Go do it. Like the last show, man, I told you people was arguing saying you're not gonna get involved in the school board. Don't get involved in the school board elections. It'll be easier. Nah.
Right.
Steve A.P.A.L used to whoop our butt. We ran people for office all the time. We used to lose.
That's right.
We used to lose.
That's right.
I didn't go to Steve's house and say, and then he wouldn't. The problem with the funny thing is he wouldn't allow me to come to his house and do that.
Right.
You get to come to me and say, don't be involved. I can go to Steve A.P.A.L and say, listen, don't get involved in the elections because I want to win.
Break it down.
Right.
Hell no.
Right.
Break it down.
I had to build an organization.
That's right.
And more importantly, a committee had to build an organization,
That's
right?
Go ahead.
So we can run against Steve A.P.A.L and win.
Right.
And when we won, he came to Central with some cannolis.
That's right.
That's right. He came with some cannolis to say congratulations that you won. And you know what I told him? I said, you eat it first. I saw that movie.
No doubt.
Yeah, but it took organizing to do that.
Right.
It's you gotta win. It took organizing to do that.
Again, Mr. Mayor, you know, studying all of that history, right here to my recent history, that you've been a part of, inspired us to do what we do on this show, but inspired to do the vote. And Eddie, I go back to that. But my brother Ed, he was like, we got to get Mitty up in here. He has to be the moderator, the chief moderator for the vote, man. Because we want to talk about the importance of it. But we want to give some PE on the vote.
You should, man. That's real.
No, for real.
Because I ran for office in '94, lost.
Right.
'98, lost. Again after that, lost. It wasn't until my brother got in this thing and really started like analyzing and figuring out how to do this thing that we actually started winning anything.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but here's the thing though. I mean, when Mitty laid it out last week, and now they replaying it all over the campus, and now, but And that's why they put him in 101.
That was last month.
Well, last month.
Yeah.
But his level of brilliance, man,
Right.
is just so incredible because at the end of the day, I mean, I know he ain't here and I'm talking about him, but listen, at the end of the day, you know, but you said it though, man. You said, listen, man, you know, you got cats out here, and you remember all the people that ran in the last election here in Newark.
That's
It was
right.
like 15, 16 people.
Yeah.
Every goddamn body was running for office.
That's right.
But nobody knew how to get anybody to vote for him.
No.
And it was
we
just
made it look easy. They figured they vote for that
right.
guy, they
and
can
that,
vote for us.
But you said it, man. You said they were looking at y'all, and they said, if the man can do it, we can do it.
We're going to have a few rallies. We're going to protest on the corner. We're going to yell and scream, and then people going to vote for
Right.
it.
Right.
You know, and it just didn't come to fruition. And when Mitty laid it out last month, people was like, whoa, oh, snap. So is that how it is?
Right.
And then they had to realize that they didn't do any of that.
Of course not.
Right?
They just, I know they didn't because I didn't
Right.
in 94.
Right.
I came home from school, from Howard University.
That's right.
I was a teacher at Warren Street School. I read the 5 books I'm telling y'all about. I thought I was the man. I was smart. I had Black Near Force. We was organizing. We did food and clothing drives. We taught kids
Absolutely.
after school, Black history.
Right.
We did all these things.
Right.
We thought that we were the most progressive people in the city, and if we ran, people would vote for us. And they did. 3,000.
Shorty for mayor.
And that's
Yeah.
exactly what they got. Those
Yeah.
people got like
Yeah.
3,000 votes.
And that's what happened, right?
Right.
So people
Since
voted for you.
19
You're gonna get the people who completely hate the other guy,
Right.
right? And you get people who the people you know, your family members, your friends.
Right.
But how many people is that?
Right.
And when you start really thinking about that, right?
Right.
How many people is that? How many people do you know? As a matter of fact, if you
Right.
can't call everybody you know and say I'm running for office, give me $5.
Yeah,
if
that's
they
the
don't
other
give
thing.
you $5,
Right.
then you shouldn't run.
Right.
Wow.
Because now your own friends won't give you money.
Absolutely. Mr. Mayor, that's 1994. And you got elected as mayor in 2014.
Yeah.
That's a long,
yeah.
man, that's a lot of commitment.
Yeah.
That's a lot of commitment to Newark, brother. A lot of folk would have bailed out by 2014, brother.
Sure.
You know?
Prior to that.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. I'm out of here. I mean, that's incredible, you know?
And Karen Yee, one of the reporters for the Star Ledger, who, good grief, they turned the Star Ledger into a tabloid. You know what I mean? These people are like, they might as well get the National Enquirer. They just don't do real journalism anymore.
Absolutely
She
not.
told me, how come the people who was with you in the beginning not with you now?
That's crazy.
I said, first of all, it's not true.
Wow.
You think the people that come to the council meeting and yell are the people that were with me? The people were never. I said, Karen, the people were never with me. You wouldn't know that because you weren't here.
Right.
You just showed up here.
Right.
The people who were with me in '94, they work in City Hall.
Right.
That's right. I bear witness to that.
Right.
Who was with me, they work. They still here.
Right.
'94 still. All them years later, still here. Birdie is a principal. You got Azizi worked down there. Trevor worked down there. Heavy worked down. Them guys, those guys is with me every single day.
Pat
That's
Council.
right.
Pat
Right.
Council, they
Absolutely.
there.
I can bear witness to that.
They there.
Right.
They
All
there.
right.
And we
And-
know
and-
that. We
Right.
happen to know that because we were on the ground with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
Back in 1994.
Right. And so for people who would say that, they don't know that. But and don't get me wrong,
And
man.
throughout the 90s.
We get some of the same criticism.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You know, it is, how come when the man come up there, y'all softball him, oh, yo, man, the only piece of people y'all look out for is the people, down, and that's not true. Everybody's welcome to come here.
Yeah, come.
Absolutely.
I would like for you to bring them up here while I'm up here.
Right.
Oh, y'all,
You know?
y'all hear that, y'all?
Yeah.
Y'all hear that, right?
But
Wait, let's let folks. Do y'all hear that? All right, to my social media, we talk
Because most of these guys don't know what
Mr.
they're
Mayor,
talking about.
absolutely.
And I'm confident.
Right.
It's like Muhammad Ali was confident because his workout was tough.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
no
saying?
doubt.
yeah, he ran in combat boots.
That's right. So at the end of the day, I'm confident because I know most of these people have not read a thing.
Mm. Well, Mr. Mayor, look, we broadcast on three different stations, so
And we're streaming.
and we're streaming. All right,
Yeah, absolutely.
all over the place, Periscope, YouTube, Facebook. All right, so that's why we keep pointing to our. We got our IT, our army,
see, man,
our army.
all this stuff going on in here, man.
This is our
This
IT
is African
people.
connection,
Yes,
bro.
that's an
Yes,
African
sir.
connection right here, man. It's our
That's
IT
all right.
people. Big shout
That's
out,
all right.
big shout out
That's
to
all
these
right.
brothers right here. They're all
That's all
students
right.
at Rutgers Newark. All right, they are IT people.
Yeah.
But listen,
and this thing is turned into a game. But the reality is,
right.
If we want to debate real issues, then we should debate real issues for a real outcome, right? And what I've always said, and I continue to say, is you disagree with your allies sometimes, but they always going to be your allies, right? Time and condition might change that sometimes, but at the end of the day, you got to understand that who your friends and enemies are. Like, because you disagree with your friends, don't make them your enemies, right? And because you find something that your enemy said that you might find agreement with, don't mean they ain't your enemy no more.
Right.
Because enemies and friends are based on fundamental contradictions, not just differences. It's based on fundamental contradictions. A fundamental contradiction, things that can't occupy the same place at the same time. Fundamental contradiction. We have a fundamental contradiction, meaning we can't be together because your existence means my destruction, right? And so that's a fundamental contradiction, and that's what makes you my enemy, right? Because we're enemies, you may be able to say something. I say, oh, that sounds good, but I know who I'm talking to. You my enemy, right? Like God and the devil will be enemies, right? And the devil may say something that sounds interesting, but God knows he's the enemy, and that's the difference. We get into debates with people, arguments with people who are our fundamental allies, who are our friends, who if we by ourselves, there's nobody else to call but them.
Absolutely.
But we have isolated them so bad that when we get into trouble, we can't even call them anymore. So we on our own.
Absolutely.
We out here on our own.
That's right.
I should be able to disagree with you and we still be friends. What kind of friendship do we have that you think that I have to agree with you all the damn time?
That's right. Well, look, are you breaking it down, Mr. Mayor? What you want our listeners to know, and our folks who are streaming, who are turning into our streams live. This is the All Politics or Local Radio Show, the number one political hip hop radio show in America. Of course, this is the segment of the show called the Mayor's Forum. It's moderated by the mayor, live. Newark, New Jersey's Mayor Raz J. Baraka. He's in here live. You can always call in. The number is 973-353-5746. That number again is 973-353-5746. And guess what? You heard the mayor say this, right? If you have an issue with the mayor, you disagree with them, physically come on down. Come on in the building. All right? Nah, but you know, Ed, we have to shoot that some folk. But if you want to call in, you want to have a discussion with the mayor, again, you can call in to the radio show. It's 973-353-5746. Again, this is the Mayor's Forum. He comes on every third Friday. The brother comes in here live, all right? Stops what he's doing to come and do his forum. All right, y'all? Take it away.
So Mayor, so now we got 5 minutes. So let's talk about now, how do we do that? Because I'm really concerned about this, right? With the whole thing about, not having folks take advantage of us and scare the hell out of us with the 2020 election. Yeah. So, what are the steps we need to do? I know we need to, because Farrakhan was saying that, he was saying that, we need to look at some states, right? And he said we need to think about taking over some states, right? Because at the end of the day, we know that these folks can't win without us.
Right. We almost had Georgia.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Think about it. We almost did. And then they cheated.
Yeah. We almost had Georgia.
They cheated.
That means we got to work a little harder, a little smarter.
Right. So what we've got to do is that I think, I don't know. But what I'm saying is that we've got to hold some organizational meetings. And we got to be able to go to these people and say, okay, you can't win without this state. You can't win without that state. But here's what we want.
Yeah.
Right?
I agree with that. And we have to, we have to get back into. So first I think we have to exert our power in the Democratic Party. We have to do that because we're there. And when I say we're there, the majority of our people are there. Right? They in that space. Right. And we have to go in that space and begin to exert ourselves and organize ourselves and begin to force an agenda there. And I think that's happening too slow, but it's happening, and we need to create a space there. Then we need to create an independent space of our own, right? We need the whole discussion that we used to have in the 70s about an independent political party. We need to begin to move in the direction of, even if we're not talking about an independent political party, that we're talking about a progressive a set of what we need to do to force the national elections, the national scene. We need to have something outside of the Democratic Party that's not dictated to by the Democratic Party, that we have a greater influence over on our own. We need that. We absolutely need that to influence what's happening inside the party and inside other things that's going on. We just have to. And we have to know that because we live in this two-party system, is designed really a one-party system, this two-party system, that when we do things independently like that, there's no way for us to win national elections because the system is not designed that third parties win national elections. You can't even get any electoral votes. So there's no way you ever going to be the president or affect the national. It's not designed for us to do that, right? So that's why we still have to deal in the system we have until the system is changed, right? But we have to deal with it. So we have to deal with it in a way of power. So we have to begin to have some influence inside and take some control inside. Which means we need leadership position there.
Right.
Outside, we have to stop fighting with each other long enough to create a space where we can independently struggle around issues that we think should be forced on the national scene. Begin to talk about those things. Create a safe space for us to come together. All these organizations, whether you're a foodie or spiritual kind of person, revolutionary nationalist, revolutionary socialist, all these people to be able to come into this space and be able to struggle around issues that help us influence and push the country and these parties further and further to the left that's more beneficial to the majority of people. We have to have a two-tiered attack on how we dealing with this. And it's called self-determination and democracy. You have to fight on both of those fronts at the same time. And it's difficult to do that because the people who believe in self-determination get angry at the people who want to fight for democracy. And the folks that are involved in the democratic struggle are afraid of the people that are fighting for self-determination because they think they're going to disrupt the whole thing. But there has to be a way for us to communicate with one another.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I think that's what we need to be focusing on, man, because I don't, what I'm looking at, man, is I'm looking at everybody scaring everybody.
Yeah.
Scaring the hell out of them. And, and I talked to Bob offline, and he's like, look, man, we just cannot, 2020 is coming. Yeah, we got to vote. Yeah, we got to organize. Yeah, we got to do that. But we've got to get something for our people, man.
We got to get something. Immediately.
And you know that, man. You say that all the time.
Immediately.
When you say, well, how long do y'all want us to wait? We can't wait.
Yeah, we can't wait.
And
we have to understand that just putting people in positions, faces, is not enough.
That's right. We've done that, right?
Yeah, and matter of fact, that might not even be the answer.
Right.
Right. That might not even be the answer.
Right.
Well, Mr. Mayor, we getting close to the end of your segment, brother. All right. Every time, man, it gets good, man. We get right to the end. But before you go, is there some things you want to talk about in terms of the city, in terms of local,
I'm gonna talk about this land bank. We just got the governor to sign that legislation around the land bank, which helps us, create a strategy around all these abandoned houses and vacant lots and all the stuff in these neighborhoods that have been like way since 30, 40 years. Some lots that I know houses been abandoned since I was 10. So, and they still that way. Right. It gives us a strategy to kind of attack those things and make it be creative about what we want to do with it.
Right.
Keep it in the city's purview. Offer it to local folks. I was just with Sway, Sway Calloway, and he was talking to me about Oakland and how Oakland became what it is, over the years, how it got gentrified to a state that is in.
Right.
And I said, well, what do you think is what we should be telling Newarkers now about what they should be doing so they can avoid getting to a place that Oakland got to?
Absolutely.
He said, buy them everything you can. Right. That's what he said.
That's what I'm talking about.
Buy everything you can.
Would you say that at the minute?
All the time. Be at the minute meeting, buy this stuff, get this. And so the land bank allows us to sell it to you.
Right.
Without the bureaucracy, without the politics, without all the other things that's associated with the land bank, allows us to do what they're doing in Detroit, what they're trying to do in Philly, what they're doing in other parts of the country, allows us to give the property to local folks to begin to do the things we want to do with it. We're getting ready to start it with a program that gives abandoned structures to nonprofit organizations in the city of Newark for free to work with for 2 years. And every 2 years, they got to go before the council and get it renewed. On the 5th year, they got an opportunity to purchase it at the original price of the property, but every 2 years they can negotiate to go back in that property and begin to use it for educational purpose, arts and cultural purpose, and civic engagement. So we're getting ready to push that as one of the first things that the land bank is going to be able to do in the city. And we're looking to get, dozens of local kind of nonprofit organizations space, opportunity to function, to do their thing, whether it's art galleries or teaching kids after school or registering people to vote, doing civic engagement, or maybe you teaching them karate, or you teaching them yoga, or you teaching them jazz, or you teaching all of this stuff. You get an opportunity to get brick and mortar. Right. It helps the city because it puts a property out of blight and it allows it to have use, and it's still owned by the city, so you don't have to pay any taxes on it. Right? We actually got this property for 2 years. Obviously, you have to put some work in it so it's not dangerous, or people can go in and out of there. And you'll be responsible for that. But ultimately, it is a way that we can get some of these properties, be creative about how to get some of these properties back online and under the auspices of people in the city.
Hey man, that just sounds great, man, and ties into the whole thing you're doing in the men's meetings, man. Yeah. What you've been telling us really for the last couple of years, ever since we started the meetings.
Everybody, that last men's meeting was fire.
I heard about it, man.
Yeah, we were here doing the vote.
Yeah.
We were here holding it down. Yeah, we heard it was fire, no doubt, absolutely. Yeah. Hold the line, y'all, hold the line.
It just turned up. It turned up in there.
Yeah. Woo. That's why everybody talking about you need to be. I'm gonna say this outright. You need to be a damn preacher. You need to be up in there preaching, man.
In August, we having the men's meeting and the women's meeting together.
Oh wow, y'all
having a family meeting.
We breaking news, y'all. We breaking news on the Marriage Forum.
Second Friday of August.
Second Friday of August.
It's gonna be our first family meeting.
Wow.
Men and women in there together. 6 p.m. City Hall, Council Chambers. Second Friday of the month. We're gonna turn it way up. Volume gonna be on 20 in there.
That's what's up. Mr. Mayor, we want to thank you, man, for real, man. Our DJ, the greatest DJ in the universe, is he's out with his daughter. His daughter's about to go to Paris.
DJ Rhino.
Yes, big shout out to DJ Rhino. So Ed got me on. He got me engineering. He got me on engineering right now, man. Playing the classics. I'm juggling classics with house music.
I see you over there.
Playing some brand Nubians.
I see you over there, Imhotep.
Oh, whoa! Be careful, man. They don't like that word.
That's what's up. Hey, listen, I'm not an angry Hotep.
Imhotep was a mathematician, a philosopher, a scientist, a poet,
break it down,
a doctor, all of those things.
Go ahead, brother. Multi-genius, man.
Hey, brother, you should be honored if somebody call you Imhotep.
Oh, I am honored, brother.
Yeah, I'll be Imhotep all day.
I'm honored, brother. Yeah. I'm honored. And if you want to read more about Imhotep, please pick up classic book written by our great ancestor J.A. Rogers.
That's
World's Great Men of Color.
That's right. Great Men of Color.
World's Great Men of Color, Volume 1 and 2. They have the whole history of Imhotep. And the very brother that Mayor Raz Baraka, that's Newark, New Jersey Mayor Raz Baraka, is talking about, y'all.
Yes, sir.
All right, y'all?
All right.
All right. Listen, Mr. Mayor, we want to thank you, brother.
Thank you, sir.